Secondo USA Today, dal 1999,
according to USA Today, in 1999, the American Air Force conducted special exercises 4 times per year in which the hijacking of civil aeroplanes by terrorists was simulated.
di aerei civili.
The selected targets were the Twin Towers and the Pentagon.
I don't think anybody could have
the prior government that could envision flying airplanes in the buildings.
Would have predicted.
I don't think the prior government that could envision flying airplanes in the buildings.
On the 11th of September 2002, the New York Times wrote, "1 year later, the public knows less about the circumstances of 2,801 deaths at the foot of Manhattan in broad daylight than people in 1912 knew within weeks about the Titanic."
I don't think anybody could have predicted that they would try to use an airplane as a missile, a hijacked airplane as a missile.
And I don't think the prior government that could envision flying airplanes in the buildings on such a massive scale. Tonight, the United States of America makes the following demands on the Taliban. Deliver to United States authorities all the leaders of Al-Qaeda who hide in your land. Give the United States full access to terrorist training camps so we can make sure they are no longer operating. These demands are not open to negotiation or discussion.
Is this molten metal that we have now studied at length that came from these buildings and existed then in pools underneath the rubble of all 3 skyscrapers, both towers and Building 7. We're quite sure now where this molten metal came from. It comes from a material called thermate, which is aluminum powder, iron oxide, and sulfur.
The temperature is so high that steel melts. It could only melt if the temperature reached over 1,000 degrees in a few seconds. The use of thermite could certainly have caused the fusion apparent in the steel beams.
You see, the presence of thermite now in these buildings to bring them down implies that someone had to place the thermite near the steel columns in order to cut through the columns.
What you see are high shots. Now, here we're going to show you a videotape of the collapse itself. Describe that. Now we go to videotape the collapse of this building. It's amazing. Amazing, incredible picture word. For the 3rd time today, it's reminiscent of those pictures we've all seen too much on television before when a building was deliberately destroyed by well-placed dynamite to knock it down. Described the design of planned attacks on buildings inside the U.S. and how operatives were directed to carry them out.
That is valuable information for those of us who have the responsibility to protect the American people. He told us the operatives had been instructed to ensure that the explosives went off at a point that was high enough to prevent people trapped above from escaping. He gave us information that helped uncover Al-Qaeda cells' efforts to obtain biological weapons.
I remember getting a call from the fire department commander telling me that they were not sure they were going to be able to contain the fire. And I said, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe this medicine is pull it. And they made that decision to pull. And then we watched the building. From here, we watched the building collapse.
Oh my God! It was a military plane.
There is also footage of another white mystery plane in the restricted airspace over New York City before the second attack. And as the second plane strikes the World Trade Center.
Tonight, Chief National Correspondent John King has new details about this great 9/11 mystery.
Today, 6 years after 9/11, the mystery endures about just what happened in the skies over the White House that terrible day. A plane flew right over it. But why? And what was it? It appeared overhead just before 10 a.m., a four-engine jet banking slowly in the nation's most off-limits airspace. Two government sources familiar with the incident tell CNN it was a military aircraft, but say the details are classified. This comparison of the CNN video and an official Air Force photo suggests the mystery plane is among the military's most sensitive aircraft, an Air Force E-4B. Note the flag on the tail, the stripe around the fuselage, and the telltale bubble just behind the 747 cockpit area.
You're still telling me what to do. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.